In this video, I'm going to explain my transformation from the swing on the left to the swing on the right. On the swing on the left, I had no adjustability, and my end zone swing and miss rate was the highest on my team according to the TrackMan data that year. I had a hole in the top of the zone, and like I said, the swing and miss rate was through the roof. I couldn't backspin the ball to the pull side. I was slicing balls to the backside. On the swing on the right, I had way more confidence in myself. I could backspin balls to all parts of the field, and I could handle the ball at the top of the zone with adjustability. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly how I did it. What's going on, guys? I'm about to talk about my swing transformation from 2018 to right now, 2023. This video was taken 2 or 3 days ago. As you can see, although these pitches are in very different locations, the body positions are very different. You can see how my torso is way behind my backside right here, and I'm falling back into this position. And as you can see right here, I'm much more stacked. This pitch was higher, and I was able to get to it. From this position, I would never be able to hit a high pitch. So let's talk about the causes of these positions. So now let's go back. All right, and already you can tell the setup is a bit different. You can see here I'm presetting my back hip and I'm kind of leaning over with my torso. Here I am the complete opposite. I am more stacked. I even have a bit more weight on the front side. I would say 55-45 if anything, with a slight downward tilt of the shoulders. Here the shoulders are flat. Now as we progress through the pickup, you can see that this load right here, I rock and I try and coil even deeper to pick my leg up. Instead, on this side, I pick up my leg under my center of mass and my torso does not shift back and forward. I'm able to stay on top of my hips and not fall behind my lower body at all, okay? Now, this is something that I tried to mentally adjust. I noticed that on this side, my torso was leaning back and it was always outside of my frame. So what I thought was I need to coil into it with my core like this so I'm even and not leaning back. It's okay to have a lot of weight on one leg. Your torso just has to be positioned in the right spot so you don't get stuck back, and then when you start swinging, your torso doesn't fall back like this. So some of the symptoms that were associated with a swing like this was tons of top spin to the pull side. I could not hit a ball in the air unless I skied it straight up in the air. So tons of top spin to the pull side, and I had zero adjustability, and I had a hole in the top of the zone. As you can see right here, I'm able, on the right side, I'm able to get to this high pitch, right? I'm able to get to this high pitch with ease. I stay tight and I stay through it and everything. You can see that the launch position is way more balanced. I'm stacked here. I'm already falling back here. I've lost power and adjustability already, guys, and I have no direction. Now, if the pitcher were elevated about 40 feet and the ball was coming from way down here, I might have won the Golden Spikes that year, but unfortunately that's not the case. When trying to get into the back hip, where a lot of hitters go wrong is we preset a lot on the backside. We take our torso when we kind of lean it over or on top of this back hip. We do not want to be on top of this back hip. If we load on top of this back hip like this, by the time we launch, it's going to come from under us, and then our torso has nothing to support it, and then everything's going to fall back like this, and here goes your top spin to the pull side. You lose power and adjustability. So the reason why pull side ground balls happen is due to a premature upswing that typically happens when the torso is backing out of the swing like this, because it's going to pull the swing path up prematurely, causing that premature upswing. You're going to clip the top half of the baseball and send it down into the ground. So when you hit a pull side ground ball, it's not necessarily that you rolled over. It could very well be a weight problem. The problem could have very well started before you even began your swing because you were in a compromised position. You might have already been stuck back, or you might have already had too much weight on the backside, and by the time you got going, the flaw was exposed by the time you hit the ball, but it started way before then. Okay, let's talk about some of the things that I tried to conceptualize in order to get to some of these spots. Okay, so I realized that I was not good from this position. I needed to get my hip almost behind me here. If I wanted my hip to drive, I needed it behind me here. My hip cannot drive me if there's nothing to drive, right? So my idea was I want to keep my torso here, and I wanted to be able to load without trying to balance on top of my hip. Instead, I used my core and my left groin to pull me into place here. And now I'm in a much more stacked position, and I can hold and control this position out, and now I'm in a way better position to hit. If I lean like this, it's very hard for me to then get my torso back in the middle of my legs, which is probably going to cause a slide or something, and then who knows what's going to happen after that. So a few of the things that I did to fix this as far as drills, whereas the step back drill was amazing for me. Stepping, keeping the torso in between the feet. The next thing that was really good was the walk-through drill. So I cannot walk through from this position. There's no way I have to walk through. I have to adjust my posture and then walk through. If I'm stacked and hit the ball and I'm still balanced, I should be able to walk through with ease there. So walkthroughs helped me a lot, and step backs helped me a lot. Another thing that helped me a lot was elevated fastballs. There was no way that I was able to get to a fastball with my hips and my shoulders going up in the air like this. There's no way that I could hit the fastball at the top of the zone to a ball above the zone with my body in this position. I'm already under the baseball, so my path has to be like this. The best I can do with that pitch, and I have to be perfectly on time, is sky it straight up in the air, or it's gonna go straight in the ground. It's very rarely gonna be a line drive, and if it is, if your timing is perfect, it's gonna be a top spinning line drive. It's gonna look like a 12-6 curveball coming off your bat. Okay, here is an example of what's happening in the body. So these springs are gonna represent our legs, the white on bottom is going to represent our feet, and this is going to represent our hips. Now our phone is going to represent our torso and provide the weight. So if we are on our backside and leaning over like this, we only load one spring, and that's where our swing plane is going to be. It's going to be straight up in the air like that. Now if we're over our front side, we're only going to load the front spring like that, and where's our swing plane going to be? Straight down into the ground like that. Instead, we want our torso to stay on top of the hips so it can compress the legs into the ground so you can actually get grounded. Now from here, both legs are loaded and you can fire. Now same thing with being backward or forward in the stance. A lot of people have a bad problem of having too much posture over the plate, and this is what it does. You once again partially load the springs, because this is my top half. You once again partially load the springs like that. And then from here, we're in a compromised position. We have to work up and out of this position. Same thing with too much weight being back and being back on our heels way too much. If our torso is too far back, we're only gonna partially load the springs like this. Anytime the springs are partially loaded, then our body's gonna compensate for energy that we did not create in our swing by muscle action. This is when you get the vicious pulling out or whatever symptoms you might see from rollovers. But this happens because a lack of energy was created in the beginning, and your body spends every step of the way compensating for the energy you did not create. That's when you get these high effort swings, rollovers, no adjustability, and you have to guess and be on time perfectly. So in order to load the hips properly, our torso has to be on top of the hips the whole time to provide the weight to get them in the ground. If it's back over here, I only have my back leg loaded and I'm gonna swing up in the air like this. If my torso is up front like this, then I only have one direction, front legs loaded, and my direction is gonna be down into the ground like that.